Well, this was an uncalled for treat. Okay, so basically I've been contacted by Huion and they asked me to review this new Kamvas Pro 16. So I'm not much of a reviewer, obviously. I have this all like made up setup here. So yeah, let's see what we have here. Okay, so let's get to the unboxing. So exciting. There we go. Alright, let's see what we have. Ooh. Just gonna get this out of the way, which is easier said than done. So yeah, this is the tablet, which is really thin. I didn't expect it to be that thin though. Like, I haven't peeled off the plastic yet, that's why it's so shiny. It says to do so here. I'm gonna get to it later. Alright, so these are all the cables. Oh, nice. I actually got a stand. Like, I've seen a bunch of reviews and neither of them got a stand. Oh my god. They feel so special. I can't really open it, but that's just me. I'm gonna figure it out later. Alright, so this is the pen holder, and it is shaped like a donut, or like a Pokeball. Oh my god, never thought about that. And it has 10 nibs, 10 replacement nibs, so that's cool. Not gonna run out of those anytime soon. And here we have some more cables. Always awesome to have more cables. The pen. It's actually, I think it might be a bit lighter than a Wacom one. Hold on. So this is my Wacom Intuos pen, and this is the Huion pen. I think this one might be a little lighter, which is weird, but aside from that, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, ignore this part, I don't know what happened to it. The only difference between this Huion pen and the Wacom one is that this one doesn't have the eraser on top of it, and honestly, I don't really use the eraser, but I know a bunch of people do use that, so keep that in mind. This one doesn't really have a thing here. And there's a box. Oh, so this is like... Okay, so this is the links for where to download. You have a bunch of stickers here to put on your, I believe, your keys to the side of the Wacom. There's a manual here. Oh boy. Fun. And there's a glove, which I actually never used. I do own a screen tablet, but I never actually used a glove, so that's gonna be interesting. Let me try it out. Oops. Ooh. So aesthetic. See, the thing with the glove is that, like, I think my hand is just too small. Like, it always feels big on me. Like, maybe I have to tighten it up somehow. No, this is stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna try using the gloves later when I'm gonna try and use it. Okay, so we're done with the unboxing. I should also point out that I got a little cleaning cloth. Don't underestimate the cleaning cloth. So yeah, got a little adapter, got everything I need. Let's get this thing installed and let's try it out. So of course, in order to get things installed, the first thing we have to do is uninstall this one, the Wacom I'm using right now. So let's uninstall those drivers and get the Huion installed instead. The surface of the tablet itself feels really nice. It's smooth, but it's not glossy, and instead has an anti-glare matte finish, so you don't have light reflecting on it. I admit that I haven't touched my Wacom Cintiq in a while, but I think the Huion surface is smoother? I'm not entirely sure, just keep that in mind. Now get ready, I'm gonna compare the Huion to my Cintiq a lot, cause it's the only other screen tablet I've used. Even though at the moment I'm using a Wacom Intuos as my primary tablet, I'm not going to compare it to the Huion cause it's not a screen tablet. So I'll only compare my Cintiq 13 and this Huion Kamvas Pro 16. So I'm gonna be real here, installing the drivers was simple enough, but for some reason it took me and my dad a little bit of time to have the tablet display actually work. For some reason it wasn't getting a signal, and I don't know if that's because I already had two screens connected to my computer, or because I'm the only person left alive that doesn't use a laptop and such. Nevertheless, we got it to work. Don't ask me how, I suck at technology. I think he just connected the tablet to a different port on my computer or something. The thing is, every other review I've seen on the Huion Kamvas Pro 16 says the installation is really simple. And it went perfectly smooth for them, so I don't know, maybe I'm just a freak of nature. The stand for the tablet was a bit tricky at first. I couldn't figure out how to open it. I was really struggling with it, it was kinda stiff, but I managed eventually. It's funny, cause the stand comes with instructions on how to use it, like, listen you dummy, this is how you operate a stand. Oh, they have a manual. I'm so stupid. One thing I do love about it, however, is the fact that it has more levels to play with when it comes to the angle of the tablet. It has 3 little notches to move the plate thingy around. The Cintiq stand only has 3 angles. Now, the Huion says the stand has 6 angles, but I actually managed to get more out of them, so that's really cool. Now, I do believe the stand is sold separately, and it's about $30 to $35, cause that's what most of the reviews said. I don't know if they now include it for everyone or not, so I would definitely check before buying. I just so happened to get it with my tablet. Now, supposedly you can walk with it in your lap. I know a lot of people like drawing this way. I don't, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep it on my desk and try make it as comfy as I can, because I'm already so used to my Intuos tablet and now I have to rearrange my whole workstation. Anyway, let's test this bad boy out. I'm gonna start with Photoshop because that's my drawing program of choice. By the way, that's what I do all my speed paints on. A lot of you asked me that in the comments what program I'm using, so just so you know, it's Adobe Photoshop. Supposedly the Huion is capable of running all these programs as well. I would have tested them out for you, but unfortunately I don't have any of them. I just use Photoshop for all my drawings. The display of the Huion is fantastic. I'm loving the vibrancy of the colors especially. I think they look better on the Huion than they do on my actual screen monitor, which is something. In fact, I might as well just calibrate my screen to match the colors on my tablet, cause they look so nice and crisp there. So yeah, as you can see, I tried using the glove cause I like the idea of it and I never actually had one before. But I took it off fairly quickly and just kept going without it. It was way too big for my tiny baby fairy hand, and it made my hand slip all over the already smooth screen, so yeah. I'll just try not to sweat on it too much. Speaking of which, it does say in the manual that the tablet can heat up locally, so it does get slightly warm, mostly at the very top right corner. My hand never reached there anyway though, so the only time I noticed this was when I was walking way past recording. Even so, it was almost unnoticeable. I'm interested to see how it'll handle being walked on for a few hours straight. Okay, let's talk about the pen. I gotta admit there's something a bit problematic about the calibration of the nib with the screen, like it's really hard to line it perfectly, you have to calibrate the pen a few times until you get it close enough. Even though I calibrated it before started drawing, I did notice the cursor was slightly off. At first I thought it was because I was walking at a weird angle due to the recording, but in hindsight I don't think that was the reason at all. It seems to be working okay now. I've recalibrated it super carefully more than once, tilting the pen upwards rather than pressing the dots for my normal drawing angle. Yeah, okay, it's weird to explain. The point is, it took a few attempts to calibrate it, but it seems to be working okay now. It's just not perfect. Supposedly, previous versions of the Huion tablet have had their pens battery operated. This one doesn't have a battery. It works completely on its own. My Cintiq didn't have a battery-operated pen either. The only reason I even know about it is because of the other reviews I've watched, which I just did because I didn't want to miss out on anything. And speaking of other reviews, some people commented on the nib being jumpy or something when being pressed and released. I really didn't feel anything like that. I just used the pen like I normally do and it worked fine. I did have to play a little with the pressure levels. The Huion Kamvas Pro has 8,200 pressure levels, the Cintiq 13 has just barely over 2,000 levels. The Cintiq 16 also has 8,200 pressure levels, but I don't own this one. I'm just comparing it to the Cintiq 13 I do own. It might seem like a huge difference, but I couldn't tell. Controlling both pens felt pretty much the same to me, but that's probably just me. I don't know, I just tend to have a pretty consistent line width to my style, so I never really utilize pressure levels all the way much anyway. But just so you know, the pressure levels were great. Now let's talk about the buttons on the side of the tablet. The Huion has 6 buttons and a touch strip, the Cintiq 13 has 4 buttons and a round toggle thing with 5 more pressable spots on it. So technically, the Cintiq has more buttons if that's important to you. As you can see, I barely touch my buttons, I just prefer having everything on my keyboard. I did try using the touch strip. You can use it for either zooming, brush size and scroll up and down options. I used it for zooming, but then I just gave up on it and zoomed in with my keyboard just because I felt like I have more control with it than with the strip. And now the moment I've been dreading for, trying to use this tablet with Adobe Animate. This is the program I use for my animations, and it was not listed as being one of the compatible drawing programs for the product, so I was really worried it's not gonna work on it, and it works perfectly fine, like it did with Photoshop, so that's a lot off my mind. I can use it to animate, yes! It's sort of funny how at some point I totally forgot I'm supposed to pay attention to how the tablet functions for the review. I was just straight up working like normal. And that's saying something cause I hate changes so much, so the fact I didn't even notice the transition from my normal intros to this one and I just worked on it naturally like I always had it, it's honestly amazing to me. I thought I'm not gonna like the feel of it because it's different and will have to get used to it over time, but nope, I'm already used to it. The second day I used it far more with the intention to make it my main work tablet, I did run into another issue though, in which the pen and buttons just didn't work at all. They only started working again after I completely reset my computer, which wasn't great and was kinda inconvenient. It doesn't happen all the time, but it already managed to happen twice, so I'm gonna assume it'll keep happening occasionally. But after resetting my computer, it goes back to being fine. Annoying, but not a deal breaker for me. Well, that's pretty much my review for the tablet Huion Kamvas Pro 16. I'm gonna keep working on it for a few more days and then decide if I wanna stick with it or go back to my Wacom intros. Yeah, it may not be a screen tablet, but that's just what I find most comfortable to work with. Doesn't mean anything about the Huion itself, I think overall it's a very good tablet. I don't know if I was informative enough, but hey, I just gave you my honest opinion of what I think of it from my personal experience. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Stay spooky, my pretty darlings. Bye bye!